Hello there. I'm back after what feels like a lifetime, but in reality was about 3 weeks. In those 3 weeks, what have I been up to? I've been to the gym a few times, and I'm burping already, which is always a positive. I had a bit of a rough time at work, so I had to go and stay away for a few days. I'll come back home and work said they don't want me back yet, so I'm off work at the moment, filling my days by going out and having hot chocolate and going to the gym. What else have I done? Very little, actually, come to think of it. There was one big thing that came to mind a minute ago, but I can't for the life of me remember what that was. So, oh yeah, I've got a tattoo, but it's covered up at the moment, so I won't show you just yet. But it's on my Instagram, which is the same username if you want to see what I've had done to myself. But that's not really why you're here, because you don't give a toss about me, because I'm a fairly boring git. I did stream last night, but I don't think anyone's really interested in watching me for 2.5 hours other than my mum. Although she's said that she started getting into Monkey Island right towards the end, and she wants me to teach her how to play point and click games. And for that, she wants to buy herself a Switch. There's bit of a disconnect between her understanding of games and reality, but I'm sure we'll find a perfect solution for her somehow. Last time, all those 3 weeks ago, I said I realised after I'd recorded that I'd made a mistake, and that mistake is that I bought myself Super Monaco GP to add to the collection. I already had it. It's the first time in the whole time I've been collecting for Mega Drive that I've inadvertently bought myself a duplicate game. But if anyone needs it for their collection, please just send me a message on Instagram and I'll send it out to you. Yeah, I don't want anything for it. Just send me a message and I'll send it to anyone who needs it. So let's put that up there, because the reason you watch these videos is to see what kind of stuff I've bought. And looking at my pile for this video, there's a few UMDs, there's a Sega Saturn game, not an exciting one, and quite a few for the Mega Drive. So let's get cracking, shall we? As you know, I go to Last Level in Norwich fairly regularly, and right near the door they tend to have their UMDs, and I managed to pick these three up for £1 each. None of them, I don't think many of them are particularly good films, but they're all ones I've never seen before. So first off, we've got Daredevil starring Ben Affleck, which I understand Ben Affleck is pretty awful whenever he plays a superhero. But I've not seen it, so that'll be a good one for me. And I've got Hostage starring Bruce Willis, which I'm not going to read the synopsis because it's bloody long, but it looks a bit thriller-like, and I tend to like, based on the #1 best-selling thriller. So yeah, it's a thriller, and I tend to like them. And then finally, I've got The Punisher, starring Tom Jane and John Travolta. I didn't know John Travolta was in a Punisher film. I've never seen any of the adaptations of Punisher. I've never read Punisher, but I know that it's got a very loyal following. So that'll be another good one for me to watch. I've, as well as all of my various challenges that I try and do, particularly with the movie Mega Drive collection, which later on I will tell you how close I am to doing it now, but it's getting very expensive now. I've started keeping a note of films that I've watched this year that I've not watched ever before. So I think I've done 12 so far this year that I've not seen before, including one that I got halfway through before I thought I'd give it a quick Google and found out it had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was a bit of a drag. That was Dark Crimes, starring Jim Carrey, where Jim Carrey is playing a Polish detective. It's interesting, to say the very least, and it's a bit come the end. The highlight is Jim Carrey, but even his performance can't drag the film up. It is pretty awful. So let's move on to Sega Saturn. Again, this was a pickup from Last Level, and it's a bog standard FIFA game, but it just adds to my minuscule Saturn collection. I've got FIFA 96, and it is complete in box with the manual, so It's how I like the games to be, although I am wondering whether I should go without a manual for some of the more expensive ones, just so I can add them into the collection. But I'm not convinced that that's the right way for me to go. But let's get on to the Mega Drive games I've picked up. So the first one we've got is Mutant League Football, which I got from Last Level, which is basically mutants playing American football, which I've never played an American football game that I like, but we'll give that a try. I'm not with me doing the stream yesterday. That was more to test my setup than anything else. I would like to start playing more games on stream. I don't give a toss whether anyone watches them, but I'm going to have fun doing it and go through the ones that I've not played in the collection, like Megalomania, which just looks bizarre. It's a god simulation like no other. It's madcap mayhem and go-go as men from all walks of historical life fight each other to control a planet. With crazy speech provided by professional actors, Megalomania is a feast of far-out fun for anyone. I had no idea that was the case. It's a god sim, which I don't have the greatest success with god sims, but I've got a few of them that I need to get playing, so we'll see how that goes. Now this one is one that I definitely want to stream. On my emulator, I've played this, a little bit of it, so many times with my children, and I have great fun with it, particularly because they don't know half the countries that are in it, because they don't exist anymore. And that is Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, which is so much fun. It's literally just trivia about different countries to track criminals across the world. It's not in the greatest condition, as you can see. It's got a big tear just there, but because of how much fun I have playing with children, I really wanted to get that added to the collection. Then we've got this one complete as well. Doesn't feel it. Yeah, it is. Last Battle. When I was having to stay away from home for a few days, I did go on a bit of an eBay splurge, just buying whatever games were cheap for the Mega Drive. So I've picked up a lot of games like this. Well, I say a lot, maybe 5, which are just going to fill the shelves. But given that my dream is for the Mega Drive collection to be complete, I need to get the filler games. In the mood to punch, kick, and knock the daylights out of a bunch of wicked thugs? Yeah. So that's as good a start as anything to get playing on that one. I have a few of the Mega Drive games that are in cardboard cases, like Mike Ditka Football, Winter Challenge, Sonic & Knuckles, and I've added to that with Summer Challenge, which I'm very pleased with this one because it's complete with the manual, obviously. Then we've got the control card. We've got the EA registration card. The EA Hotlines for Tips card. So if you want to get your tips for Shadowcaster, John Madden Football, Road Rash 2, we can call EA at any point and pay 36p per minute for the cheap rate, or 48p per minute at all other times to get assistance. But the part that really excites me about this is we've got the trading cards. So we've got the trading cards for Power Challenge Golf, Winter Challenge, Handball 3, Summer Challenge, Brett Hull Hockey coming soon, Double Dragon. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of glare today. Dual Test Drive 2, Universal Soldier, which I'm confused on this one. Was this released PAL as Universal Soldier, or was it Turrican 2 in the UK? Tootie's normally very good with this, so hopefully he watches this and can give me the answer. But if it's Universal Soldier, it's another movie that I need to get. I bought the video for it just in case, but if not, then I'm clear for Universal Soldier, and I just need to get an expensive Turrican 2. Bugsy and Warp Speed. So the game itself isn't going to be the most exciting, I don't think. I mean, athletics games tend to be fun in multiplayer, but the most important part of that is the extra gubbins that's come with it. So that's good fun. This one I bought mainly because it came with something I didn't know came with Mega Drive games. And that's Psycho Pinball, but in a slipcase. I had no idea. I've spoken to Retro Gamer Thomas, who says there were a couple of games with it. Psycho Pinball and another one that he can't remember the name of. But I'm very happy to have. I enjoy pinball games, and also the fact that it's got a slipcover, which that just excites me for some reason. The next two are proper shelf fillers. But the first one features the first footballer I ever knew the name of, and that is Champions World Class Soccer, endorsed by Ryan Giggs. I remember getting a birthday card of Ryan Giggs wearing a black Man U kit before I even knew who Man U were. So that's all positive. And a bit of nostalgia. But for even older nostalgia, we've also got Pele, which I remember playing a lot of around my mum's friend's house in the probably very late 90s. My brother was it would have been about 1997. I remember playing this a lot and being awful at it. But it's another football game, which we all know football games tend to just be filler. But the most important thing we've got here, I've picked up 2 more movie-based games for the Mega Drive. The first one was a surprisingly good movie that I enjoyed quite a lot. I couldn't find a decent price copy of it anywhere, and then I just found it on YouTube. So what we've got here is Warlock, where the movie is worth watching just for Richard E. Grant doing a Scottish accent, which that's a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to give that one a play. And then a movie that I watched, and just by what I'm about to say next, you're going to work out what game it is. But Hot Shots Part 2 is one of my favourite comedies ever. And it's heavily influenced by Rambo 3. I've just given it away. So much so that when I was watching Rambo 3, I was just picturing elements from Hot Shots Part 2. So, yeah, it just wasn't particularly enjoyable, and I found it a real bore when I enjoyed the first couple of Rambos, and I enjoyed the reboot that came probably close to 20 years ago now, actually. But they were great fun, but Rambo 3 was just bloody boring. But I have the game for it now, and I think it's a side-scrolling shooter, is it? Yeah. Rambo's back, bow and arrow in hand, machine gun ready for action. Rambo looks bad and means business as they work together to help the Taliban, which has aged spectacularly well over the last few years. So, in terms of the movies for the Mega Drive, there are 10 left to get, and some of them are bloody expensive. So we've got The Addams Family, The Addams Family Values, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man. That's incredibly expensive. I could have got it this month, but I decided to get a full day session getting a tattoo instead. So that gives you some idea of how much that's going to cost me to get. Ghostbusters, Hook, Power Rangers the movie, RoboCop 3, Terminator 2, and True Lies. True Lies, I think I might have mentioned last video. I've watched that quite recently. It's a surprisingly good film, very funny in places. It's on Disney Plus. Give it a watch if you've not seen it. But the only movies that are left on the list that I have not seen in the last year are Cliffhanger, which I've never seen before, and RoboCop 3. But I'd like to watch RoboCop 2 before I get to watching RoboCop 3. But those are the only 2 movies that I need to watch, but there's 10 games that I need to get. If anyone fancies donating them to me, that would be lovely. I somehow can't see that happening. But that's it. That's what I've got for this video. Just going back to Super Monaco, if anyone wants it, it is complete with manual, just doesn't have the hanging tab. But I'll put a link to my Instagram in the description. If you want it, just chuck me a message. Alright. I will do a video of some description at some point soon, and I will try and get on with a bit more streaming. But until next time, thank you for watching if you've lasted this long, and goodbye.